me, I think the most important thing that Clinks provides to small voluntary organisations like ourselves is the voice.
At a time where voluntary sector organisations are increasingly under scrutiny and also under pressure to perhaps not speak out as strongly as they might want to, Clinks can be that ear to the ground and that voice to the top.
I think you've got the ability to join up a number of agencies and services that we don't otherwise have. That's one of the things that the Select Committee has been particularly interested in when we've been thinking about work on transforming rehabilitation. The sort of work that's done by Clinks there is, I think, critical, and we need to be building upon that sort of cooperative approach between public agencies and the NGO and voluntary sector.
The research they've done, the TR tracker, the other bits of work that say what charities are achieving and the vital role they play, but also the challenges that need overcoming. If Clinks doesn't do it, no one else will.
One of the most satisfying aspects of working with Clinks is the fact that that academic and practitioner and policy-based divide really doesn't exist. We've jointly completed a PhD project on peer mentoring, and not only is that very, very useful for that area of research, but that research will also be fed through Clinks back to the voluntary sector community as well.
We've also worked with Clinks for a number of years on our Transition to Adulthood programme, and the expertise of Clinks both on the subject of young adults and the youth to adult transition, but also their ability to connect to service providers delivering services to that age group has been invaluable.
There are so many changes constantly with the criminal justice system and new policies and papers coming out. I really value the work that Clinks does in terms of pulling together what's going on in the criminal justice system, the updates, putting together papers so that I can go and look and find something and read it and find out the salient points and really learn from that, because I just wouldn't have the time to try and trawl through everything that's going on in the criminal justice sector myself.
Clinks give us a real insight into what is going on in the British criminal justice system, and that's really helpful to us to have that information available.
A couple of my colleagues have gone to some of the events, particularly around bid writing or tender writing, and when TR came in, Transforming Rehabilitation, Clinks laid on a whole series of events around that, what it means, and how voluntary organisations can navigate through TR, because it was so big and so different, and that was hugely helpful.
When the government makes their policies, they do them sometimes in isolation from what's going on the ground. So for me, that's one of the main things that Clinks does. It sits in that space which is required to communicate between government making policy and also on the ground in delivery.
As an umbrella body to represent voluntary sector organisations, it's hugely valuable, especially kind of creating consistent voice that can have more impact on politicians or decision makers, stakeholders on policy, and it's really great to be able to be part of that organisation, especially in a tough world such as criminal justice.
It makes it possible for us to be heard in a much broader and wider way than we could ever be on our own.
And there are so many of us of all sorts of different sizes with all sorts of different remits and focuses, and the way that Clinks brings everybody together under the umbrella and provides events like this and training and all those sorts of things really helps us to feel part of a wider community.